Events since the World War II have traumatized so many people in so many places, all at the same time. Employers now need to take a greater role in ensuring its employees' mental, financial, and physical well-being.
The COVID pandemic is really a dual crisis of physical and mental health. And I think if we were to look back on this in 10 years, we might well conclude that the longest lasting consequences was really to our mental health, especially for our children and youth. Regular check-ins by managers in a normal office environment when they see employees every day, whether it's phone calls now because everyone's remotely working, or just emails with colleagues and peers, will help us all feel a lot more connected.
We've been so much into this digital deluge, but reinforcing the human-centered aspect, the human capital aspect, that's always worth bolding and underlining compassion and the empathy. And that understanding that this is an unusual time and we're learning together, that's going to really help us get through this type of crisis.
Work happens in different ways, whether we're doing work asynchronously, whether we're doing work collaboratively, whether we're doing work in office or outside of it, doesn't matter anymore. This experiment the whole world has gone through of working from home has proven that work can get done, productivity can improve actually. So I think we've answered the question, can we all stay at home fairly well? What that means for each company from a culture standpoint, from a business strategy standpoint, from just a ways of working standpoint is something everyone will need to figure out for themselves.
There are three larger root issues that we need to work on. The first is culture. How do we go about building a culture that enables psychological safety for one to speak up if one feels emotionally stressed? The next is the whole concept of community. It's only through communities that we build that helps to foster that support. How do we go about building stronger and more trusting relationships between our employees via communities so that they can reach out, they can help one another? And the third is capability. It is the managers who are the first ones who are able to detect the first weak signals of their employees. We all need help. So let's work through this together. First touch point, the managers, and then for the employees, embed those enablements, those tips, those tricks along different touch points of the entire work cycle.
Hi, I'm Jason Setlur, President of Cigna International. The COVID-19 pandemic has changed everyone's lives this year. As a global health services company with customers around the world, we've been working hard to support our customers and our people throughout this year. This has included enhancement to our health policies, our global stress care platform, and our ongoing COVID-19 impact study. Building upon these efforts, we're honoured to work with The Economist for these important webinars. The future well-being of the workforce, managing what matters most. I'd like to thank Neka Kondu and David Humphreys for their excellent facilitation of these panels, which covered a breadth of topics centred around how the pandemic has changed people's attitudes towards health and work, and what business leaders can do to support their employees while still driving longer-term success. One thing that both panels agreed upon, which is probably the silver lining from the crisis, is that COVID-19 has accelerated a major shift in how organisations look at employee well-being. This is a subject that companies must address when tackling both the short-term needs arising from the pandemic, but also strategizing for the longer term. The panelists, Ying from DBS and Sunil from Go-Jek, highlighted the importance of overall employee well-being during this period, especially when it comes to mental health. It was also fascinating to hear their examples of how they've addressed pressing challenges such as the need to quickly shift to work from home and the need to address health concerns amongst their staff. I also enjoyed the tips from Doris Sohmen-Pao of Human Capital Leadership Institute, which she shared about the positive health and well-being outcomes that can be achieved by investing in learning and development. And also by extension, Madeline Sadler from the International Rescue Committee, who talked about how they have invested in training for their managers to enable them to better support their teams, who are actually spread through a variety of countries across the globe. Erica Keswin's observations that some companies are designating certain days of the year for employees to focus on their own personal wellness struck me as a potentially positive trend from this highly unusual year. The other thing that came through was the importance of communication during these highly uncertain times. I thought Jonathan Trevor from Said Business School at the University of Oxford put it best. Employees can handle bad news much better than we think they can. What they can't handle is no news. Finally, it was great to hear about the need for us to remain human, despite the adversity. This was explained by Dr. Dawn Su and Dr. Daniel Ober, or as Erica Keswin entitled her Wall Street Journal bestseller, Bring Your Human to Work. So please, enjoy this summary video and also take the time to read our latest COVID-19 impact study, which will show you how human behaviour has changed throughout the course of this highly unusual year.